Have you ever been confused as to why an enemy knows which tree you're on as Monkey King? I'll admit, it can seem a bit confusing, but don't worry. Today, we're going to take a closer look at Monkey King's tree dance to figure out how it actually works. Tree dance lets Monkey King perch atop a tree, allowing him to scout the area, set up an initiation, or escape enemies. This adds a whole new level to Monkey King's elusiveness that we don't often see in Dota. But this ability comes with a risk, as you'll often use it in an area your enemies are in, so knowing how it works is crucial so you don't push your limits and feed. Now, the whole confusion about when and why an enemy can see Monkey King when he's atop a tree is actually simpler than it seems. Although I will admit that in my research I've found clips that don't make any sense, but I believe these are bugs from years ago that seem to hopefully be resolved now. When Monkey King jumps onto a tree, the enemy can see this if they have vision of the path between Monkey King and the tree he's jumping onto. When he jumps between trees, enemies can see this too, but again, only if they have vision of the path between these 2 points, where Monkey King starts and where he ends. So if you're playing Monkey King and you want to be sure your enemies won't see you as you make these jumps, you need to jump in places where the enemy can't see your travel path. By doing this, there's no indication that you're there, even if you jump to the closest tree to your enemy. But there is a bit of a caveat to this. If the enemy is directly next to a tree, basically touching it, and you jump to that tree, they'll see you for a very brief moment, even if they don't have vision of the jump path. I believe this is similar to the reason why you can see on top of cliffs if you walk right up against them, which can help to deward. Your hero gives a little vision around them. But if Monkey King is already on a tree and an enemy hero walks up against that tree, it won't give vision of Monkey King like it does when checking a cliff. They'll only very briefly see that Monkey King jumped onto that tree. There is a way though you can always get vision of an enemy Monkey King when he's jumping around, and that's to subscribe right now. I'm not sure why this works, but trust me, it does. Try it out yourself. Also, I've gotten some questions about if I do coaching, so I recently launched a Patreon where I offer this. If this sounds interesting to you, check it out. More info on this at the end of the video. Now, jumps like this only allow the enemy to see Monkey King moving between the 2 points. It doesn't give the enemy vision of Monkey King sitting on the tree. There are 2 ways to do that. First, if the enemy has flying vision around that tree. There are 2 main types of vision in Dota, ground vision and flying vision. Ground vision, also known as obstructed vision, is the normal vision you typically have that's restricted by things like higher elevation and trees. This is why you can't see what's up these stairs. Flying vision, also known as unobstructed vision, is completely unhindered by these restrictions, allowing you to see things all around you. So having flying vision will give vision of Monkey King when he's on a tree. There are actually a lot of abilities that give flying vision, such as Jakiro's Ice Path, Coddle's Illuminate, Nature's Prophet Sprout, and the most powerful in terms of the area it covers, Night Stalker's Dark Ascension. I'll leave a list of all of the abilities in the description. The other way that you can see Monkey King on a tree is if you're 2 elevation levels above the tree he's on. When Monkey King is on a tree, he's technically considered to be still on the ground, which is why he can be affected by abilities on the ground. An example of 2 elevation levels above is at the top of these stairs to this tree down in the river. You can tell it's 2 levels above since off to the side you need to go up these stairs, then also these stairs. 1, 2. If you're only 1 elevation level above, you cannot see Monkey King on the tree anymore, but move up 1 more level and there he is. Upward movement from something like a tiny toss will not allow you to see Monkey King as the toss unit is still technically on the same elevation level that they were on before being tossed. Now let's talk a bit about the vision that Monkey King has while on a tree, since it has some weird rules. All heroes have the same daytime and nighttime vision range of 1800 and 800, with some exceptions. When Monkey King perches atop a tree, his vision is reduced to a set value depending on if it's day or night. If Monkey King has an item that grants bonus vision, the bonus will be applied when he's atop a tree, but only if the item granting bonus vision is not a neutral item. As of now, the only item granting this is Moonshard, which gives more night vision. So if you have a Seer Stone, which gives 350 bonus vision for daytime and nighttime, or a Book of Shadows, which gives 400 bonus night vision, neither of these bonuses will actually provide more vision to Monkey King when he's perched. Bug or feature, I'm not sure. We'll have to see if this gets patched in the future. If you notice that it does, be sure to let everyone know in the comments. Here's a little trick for Monkey King that utilizes the directional move hotkey. When you jump onto a tree, you'll be facing the same direction you were when jumping onto the tree. This means if you want to use an item on someone like Yule Scepter or Orchid or one of Monkey King's other abilities, your hero has to take the time to face that direction before using it, just like if you were on the ground. This might not sound like a big deal since the time to churn isn't too long, but sometimes in Dota, being a fraction of a second too slow can make a huge difference. If you try to move when you're on a tree to face a certain direction, you'll simply jump off of the tree. But if you're on a tree and you use your directional move hotkey, it won't make you jump off of the tree. It'll instead face you in that direction. This way you can stay hidden on the tree and prepare your hero's facing direction to use an ability or item. The patrol hotkey will do the same thing, but you can only change your direction once, whereas with the directional move hotkey, you can do it as many times as you like. Lastly, let's quickly look at the things that force Monkey King off of a tree. If you finish casting Monkey King's ult, Wukong's command, you'll be forced off of the tree, but you can hop right back on without ending your ult, as long as the tree is within the circle. If you finish casting teleport, that'll remove you from the tree, obviously. This applies to all teleport sources. Cyclone sources. This includes Yule's, Wind Waker, Invoker's Tornado, and Brewmaster's Storm Panda's Cyclone. Forced movement sources, but only when it affects the X or Y axis. Things like Lion's Earth Spike and Kunkka's Torrent are considered forced movement, but they affect the unit's Z axis position by moving them upwards rather than their X or Y axis position. Examples of forced movement that do work are Pudge's Hook, Mars's Spear, and even Force Staff. Interesting note on that last one. We all know if you break the tree Monkey King is on, it'll stun him, and we know that Force Staff can break trees. Well, if you use Force Staff on Monkey King while he's on a tree, it will not break the tree, meaning he's not stunned. He'll simply be pushed off of it. Yo, like I mentioned earlier, I created a Patreon. There's a lot of info on the page about why I created it and the different tiers, but the gist is that I got laid off a bit ago, which sucks, but it opened up a lot of time for me to do things like streaming and make videos. The dream is to make content full time for you all since I love doing this so much. But the amount of money I get from these videos is actually pretty dog, so I thought a Patreon might help me get closer to my dream. I offer coaching through my Patreon if you become a member at certain tiers. So if you want to work together to up your game or pick my brain about anything Dota related, consider becoming a member and we can figure out together how you can reach your Dota goals. I'm a 9K support player with almost 18K hours in Dota, so I could have some knowledge you might find helpful. Check the link in the description for more details. And be sure to check the streams out if you haven't already so you're there when I hit 10K. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, I hope you learned something new with me.